This video is to explain how you knit the German short rows like I have used them in sock José. Imagine that you have made all your stitches for your heel and that your pattern says turn and make a German short row. On the wrong side of your work, you bring your yarn forward, you slip the first stitch from your left needle to your right needle, and then you pull your thread up and over your needle, bring it back to the front, and you are ready to start purling. So you purl all the way to where your pattern says turn and make a German short row. So you turn, and on the right side of your work it's a little different. Bring your yarn forward, slip the first stitch from the left needle to the right needle, and bring your yarn up and over your needle to make a German short row. And there you have two legs of the stitch on your needle. You knit your way back again up to the last German short row you made. There it is. So I'm going to turn my work and make a German short row for this stitch. Bring your yarn forward, slip your stitch to the right needle and pull your yarn up and over and back to the front to start purling. Now let's assume that you have knitted all your German short rows as per pattern. I've knitted my German short rows, I've knitted across the heel, and I've reached the German short rows that I need to work. All these German short rows have two legs in one stitch, and you handle them like it would be just one regular stitch. You just knit those two legs together. If all is right, after you have knitted the last German short row, you have reached the stitch that you didn't give a German short row when you started knitting the heel. And you will knit it through the back loop with the first stitch of the gusset. And then you turn. Slip the first stitch as if to purl with the yarn in front, and knit across to the point where you reached the German short rows on the wrong side of your work. Knit those until you have reached the last German short row. Now, to tighten things up in this corner, we are going to forget to knit this stitch. I call this the forgotten stitch technique. You just slip it with your yarn in front as if to purl. The next stitch you will purl together with the first stitch of the gusset. Now you turn your... You have reached row 1 on the right side of your work. You slip the first stitch as if to purl with the yarn in back. And now you are going to handle the forgotten stitch. You pick up the yarn that it should have originally gotten, if you would have knitted it or purled it, place it on the needle and knit the forgotten stitch like this. Be aware that the first time we do this, the forgotten stitch is a German short row, so take care of both legs of the stitch. You are not going to knit it again, you just slip it with the yarn in back, And now you continue to knit the stitches across the heel. And you knit all the way across until you reach the obvious gap on your needle, like you see here. You knit the last stitch of the heel through the back loop with the first stitch of the gusset stitches, and then you turn your work. I've turned my work again, and we are going to work all the way to the other side of the heel in a pattern of purl 2, slip 1 with yarn in front. And once you have reached the obvious gap on your needle, the stitch right before that will be the forgotten stitch. So just slip that off with your yarn in front. Purl the last stitch together with the first stitch of the gusset, and then you turn your work. You slip the first stitch with the yarn in back, and now you will handle the forgotten stitch by picking up the strand on the back of your work, put it on your needle and use it to give the forgotten stitch the yarn that he was supposed to get in the first place. Don't knit it again, just slip it off with yarn on the wrong side of your work and start knitting across to the other side. This is how you knit the short row heel, and you work the forgotten stitch on the wrong side of your work and give it its yarn on the right side of your work again. And you will do that all the way until you've worked all the stitches. Good luck!